1, 2, 3, 4.
I know just the magic trick. It will involve you both.
Okay, go for it.
I'll just grab my magic cards. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 2 aces from the pack down here. Ace,
Yeah.
ace.
Yeah.
And this is going to be really simple, guys. And both of you can be involved. So, Sammy,
Yeah.
I'm going to deal this pack down onto the table. I want you to tell me when to stop, and I'm going to put this ace face up in the pack, okay? Nice and simple.
Yeah.
So tell me when.
Stop.
Okay, your ace, Sam.
Yeah.
Let's go in it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, and Josh, your turn now. I'm going to deal this down. Tell me when.
When?
Okay, all right. So that was you guys just choosing where to put those 2 aces randomly in that pack, completely random. So now I'm going to search for your aces, and I'm going to reveal the cards that you put it next to. Okay, here's one of your aces, and the card next to it, okay?
Okay, yeah.
And here's your ace, Josh, and the cards next to it.
Okay.
All right, now you're gonna find out that you put your aces randomly next to the other aces in the pack. Boom! So what questions have you got today?
Well, let's dive in. All right, we've got a question from Aisha in Palestine. Is it true you have a twin sister? And how does that affect you and your growth? How is the dynamic of individuality and closeness playing out for you?
How's it working out for me? It's an interesting one, Aisha. Like, to be honest, I've never really been sure. I've got another sister as well. So, like, I don't feel closer, like, necessarily, but I guess what's quite nice is like having someone your age, literally your age, going through like all the same stages of life with you. And I think what's happened in our family's case is we've all kind of gone into creative stuff together. And my twin is like a photographer and an artist, and like is really helpful with that stuff with me. Like, we both really enjoy kind of the creative side of life and all the opportunities that present. And so we often overlap quite a lot of the time. But I think the main thing about having a twin is that sense of like, you've always got a pal, like at every kind of moment in time, because you're just doing it at the same time. And like, that's meant that often we've ended up with like similar friendship groups and that kind of stuff. So there probably is more overlap than like with the normal sibling and stuff. But thanks, Aisha, for your question. Hope you're well over in Palestine.
I've got one from Daria. Daria says, thank you for your honesty and smiles. My question, brackets questions, is/are to all of you, I hope. Writing is a long, long, long process. I'm wondering how you find your motivation or inspiration, if you believe in it, to write new songs, or your strategy is no motivation, ? P.S. Have you ever tried to write a song with words from a crossword puzzle? I tried to write like this when I was younger, and it's a really good exercise. Be safe and healthy, all of you guys. With best wishes, Daria.
Thanks, Daria.
Josh, you got some things to share?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this yesterday. I think the thing for me is like whether you have an idea or not, or whether you feel inspired or not, if you sit down and just start working away at something, even if it feels like it's not very good or very natural. It's kind of like going to the gym or something for your creativity, and it can feel like really hard work, but all of those hours you spend doing that's what leads to a good breakthrough where something feels easy later on. Doing a crossword is a great way because you have all these random things that can spark off ideas and connections in your head to things that relate to your life. I think that's a really nice idea. Word games.
Yeah, I think for me, I've written out of a response, I think, to things. But then also, like, I've definitely had times in my life where, as you say, Josh, you have to work the muscle a bit. And I've noticed that the more I write, the more I put myself into a place where I'm gonna write, then
Yeah, exactly.
what comes out, not necessarily instantly, but over time, becomes better. You discover your voice, you discover like what you want to talk about and why you want to talk about those things, how you might talk about those things. All those are really important questions, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of the writing process for me is life-based, but I would say that for me, I actually am more on the coin of waiting for inspiration to come. So I start to visit my thoughts, my feelings. I start to look around me at the things that I consider beautiful or valuable. And I think a lot. And then that has a kind of musical reaction. I don't want to write something in order to impress. I just want to effortlessly like capture the thing that I'm trying to capture. And so I feel like most of my albums are songs that have like popped into my head, to be honest. Or at least a big chunk of it has just popped into my head. Like Little Giant, a lot of the tracks on that were like that. It was the kind of like, this is something that I'm just kind of getting. I do feel that like I've had times in my life, like when I wrote Quiet Man as an album, I was kind of thinking I'm taking a break from writing, but then the songs just kind of came. And I feel like sometimes you can put a pressure on yourself to be like, okay, I've got to write. But then at the same time, often like your deepest thoughts and your deepest, like most intelligent thoughts don't come from the times when you're sitting down trying to think of something. They're like, they're the things that like you realize at a moment in time, you go, I never thought of it like that before.
I'm going to give a quick shout out to Sean from China, who I said the wrong name last time. He'd also like to know, he had a second question, which was, are we ever going to go play in China?
China looks amazing, like incredible country. I'd personally love to see like China, like the countryside and like it looks incredible. Probably won't be very easy to tour anywhere for a little bit, to be honest.
No,
but yeah, like nearly everywhere I'd love to go and play at some point, you know. I hope the moment that we do get to go and play in China, even if I'm like 50 years old, I hope you're there, Sean.
This is from Daniel Witt in Texas, one of my favorite places. What's your process for getting something from your head to an actual band arrangement? For example, do you write out a cello part in notation or hum it to the cellist?
Well, for me, it's always been more of a spontaneous thing or something that I've got in my head really firmly, but I don't have a way to do it other than to hum it. So I remember, like, for instance, the whole Little Giant album, Joanne was on the cello and I was sat on the floor, like, humming all the parts. And generally speaking, when it comes to, in particular, strings arrangements, that's how I go about it. Like, strings for me feel like something that I always have in my head, like the way that I want them to complement the track. But I think generally speaking, you have like the flavor in mind. And yeah, like the actual practical side of it is there is a lot of humming and a lot of like moments where you go, oh, not quite like that. I mean, Grieg, our violinist, I love Grieg. I think he's amazing to work with. He's all about trying to get the right feeling out of the way he plays it. What about you guys? I don't know. Do you have anything to say on that?
I mean, I suppose, yeah, like our experience working together has been very much like that. It's like trying to create a feeling, trying to get this idea across, and then you've got a melody line in your head for like a riff, or, you know, it's like, oh, I've got this idea for this like pedal steel part, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like all those bits. And then it's like you hum them and then we find them.
Yeah.
I think with literally all of the musicians that we work with and that I've worked with, I've always looked for that, and I've always really appreciated that in them. That there's a kind of humility and also musicality that they bring to it, where you can be really pleasantly surprised by stuff that they bring into it too. I'll always remember with Georgie Harris, like when we were recording Know Me Well, and coming out of the first chorus, she wrote this like, or just, it was like just naturally came out, this rising line on the viola.
Was that Georgie?
Nice. That was Georgie.
I love that.
And I was like, that is exactly what I'm after. Like, let's build on that.
Okay, we'll do this one. It's from Olga in Poland, and she's actually attached a little picture.
Oh yeah.
I love that Josh is there in the background. She says, this was made in Warsaw on 24th of November, 2019. Thank you so much for the concert. Love heart. It was like honey on my ears. Smiley face.
Thank you so much.
Sounded perfectly together.
That was a good one.
It must have been good if Olga thought it was honey on the ears. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Mainly I remember having dinner in a train. And I've never been on a train where you get to have, like, go and sit down at a table in the dinner carriage.
It's so nice. And that happens quite a lot in Europe, I feel. I love that.
It just made me feel like I was in an old, like a detective novel or something. Oh, there's a good example of train behaviour.
Oh yeah. Was there a question attached to that, Sam?
Yeah,
or have we just been talking a lot?
There is a question.
Oh right.
Olga wants to know, Roo, Josh and Sam, what is your biggest dream, or has it already come true? And what was it, or is it?
I think I tried to put aside, like, as much as I could, any kind of physical material dream, because I think it can be really off-putting. And actually, instead, I kind of thought, you know, while I've got this small time on Earth, I just want to write as many beautiful songs as I can. And when I look back on life, I want to be like, there was lots, you know, there was lots, and it was good. Yeah.
I think it's better to just think of things as constantly sort of looking for meaning, things that feel meaningful and innately good.
Yeah, in a way, you can live your dream in the present. Like,
our culture tells us that we need more, like our consumer kind of culture. It's like, you won't be happy till you've achieved this or till you've achieved that. Or
I love the idea that, like, you're born with a dream over you. I love that. Like, for me, like, rather than me like trying to chase all these things that, like, I want, I kind of feel that, you know, I was born with things like music or like a personality and that kind of stuff. And like, that makes me feel really comfortable with dreaming. It's like getting on board more with like who you are, who you're meant to be, and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. It's mythical, and that's good. Mystical and mythical.
Yeah.
Good question. Deep answers, but you know, just remember that we're just three guys talking. So feel free to whatever way.
We might as well have pints and be in the pub right now.
Yeah.
Do we have time for one last question?
Go on then.
This is Tobias from Sweden's actual question. I know Tiger Stripe Sky is very popular and the first song I ever heard from you, but what do you think, which is your favourite and your least favourite song?
And least favourite? There's definitely a few songs that, like, when you record them, you think I wouldn't have done that any differently. And I think that's the one that those are the ones that separate from like your absolute favorites. I would say Little Giant feels to me like an important song. Know Me Well.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Thinking of Japan. I think that's a song that, like, again, texturally, I really was happy with. A Message to Myself. And I would say, oh man, see, this is hard. But like a couple of these new songs coming out, I would say that There's a Place is one of my favorite ones, and Listen Till Only Loves You. But those ones feel to me quite complete as recordings in terms of what I wanted to say. So yeah, for me. Unfortunately, the things that come to mind when I think a least favorite isn't about the writing. It's about maybe the amount of times I had to play them in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like there was a time where I felt like I was singing songs like Lullaby Love. It's certainly not like my least favorite. Like there's been times where it might have been my favorite. Like when I released it, I was like, oh, I really love this song. But sometimes when you overplay songs, you need to kind of give them space to come back to and enjoy them in the same way again.
What's your favorite one, Sam?
I like at the moment, it hasn't been released yet, but what's it called?
There's a place.
Oh, there's a
There's
place.
a place. Yeah, there's a place. Oh, and the other one that I really like, Sketches of Summer.
Nice.
That one's great. I
Um,
think Sun will rise over the year for me, probably.
That's your favourite?
No, Commentator. That's my favorite.
I'd say about There's a Place. What makes it interesting for all of us is that it's definitely a documentary song of like last year.
Yeah.
You know, a year that we like did so much together, where we all were kind of like living each other's stories to some certain extent. And that song was like, it just feels like such a song of that like moment in time, and us kind of like playing it together and being like, yep, it's 8 minutes long, we're just gonna do it. And like,
Yeah.
And I felt like it really came together as a group, you know, like the whole vibe of it and stuff. So I can kind of see why that one, you know, I feel like we all journeyed that song together from beginning to end.
Well, that was good. Those are good questions. I think that was a good one.
That was good fun. Some good, healthy philosophizing. Goodbye, guys. Thank you again for your questions. We are really enjoying answering them and chatting to these two. So thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Stay safe.